A majority of Wes Anderson's humor is quite subtle, and it's what makes his earlier films much less accessible to a wide audience. Fantastic Mr. Fox throws this theme on its head with Anderson's most outright comedy so far. If anything, Fantastic Mr. Fox should be watched purely to understand just how much effort Wes Anderson puts into his films. The level of detail in the art direction in this film, among many other things, is truly incredible. The freedom of animation only serves to exaggerate his style in all the best ways. Until recently, I was unaware that the film was stop motion and that everything in the movie was practical effects and models, which obviously adds a completely new level of respect for the film, but it has so much to offer besides this and is truly one of the best, if not the best, family movies ever made, and certainly one of my personal favorites. From what I know about the making of this film, it's a pretty straightforward adaptation of Roald Dahl's novel. Having not read it, I can't vouch for this, but regardless, it's a great story. However, it is clear that the film isn't a verbatim copy of the novel, purely based on how much of Anderson is manifested in the story and its style of humor. The film is so self-aware of what it is, and it's very sarcastic in its approach to this. Everything from the comments about each character being a wild animal to the replacement of swear words with cuss screams self-awareness, and it's hilarious. In comparison to previous Anderson films, Fantastic Mr. Fox is much more story-based, but it's not a crutch. The story doesn't move for the sake of entertainment, it moves based on characters. When I want to see more of this plot unfold, it's because I'm invested in the characters and their actions, and not because I want to be kept awake by entertainment. It sounds silly, but throughout the film, I legitimately felt as though the animals were talking. The voice acting is brilliant. At no point in this film did I picture an actor talking behind a microphone, which sounds cliche to say, but truly I can only say who voices which characters based on the film's IMDb page. The familiarity of a voice like Bill Murray's is overridden by how natural the actions of the animations are. The facial expressions and body language of each animal are a lot more complex than most animation, and I feel this is what sets the film apart from other animated films. The dialogue is also brilliant, especially Mr. Fox. He's so charming and to the point. The to-the-point aspect of his character makes for a lot of laughs, but his curiosity and pride make him a great and lovable character. I won't go into the same depth for the supporting cast, but the same level of detail exists for each of them, which is great to see. The other thing that's great to see is the incredible consistency of the materials used for the stop motion in this film. Who would have guessed that cotton would work so well as a ball of smoke? I can't quite put into words what is so special and unique about the aesthetic that comes from the use of natural materials, but take my word for it, it works really well. Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of the better looking movies I've ever seen because of these materials. Combined with the astounding level of detail in the characters and sets, it's a beautifully designed film. I think perhaps the reason I missed the fact that Fantastic Mr. Fox is stop motion the first few times is because of these small details. Now that I know about it, of course, I noticed the minute changes in things like fur, but this isn't a detraction at all. I really like this aspect of the film. It's evidence that a truly huge amount of effort was put into it. The fact that each time a strand of fur moves, it's because somebody had to touch the character model and move a part of its body a fraction of a centimeter, take a photo, and then repeat. But also, the person taking these photos is a genius. The fact that this film is animation means that everything can be controlled, or at least most things can, and it gives a lot of freedom to the kinds of images that can be taken. It's always annoying to me that most animated films don't take control of this, and Fantastic Mr. Fox is definitely not one of those animated films. The best part of the cinematography in this film is the way it incorporates the movement of characters into the shots. There's an entire scene between Ash and Christopherson that never leaves the same angle, but they move around the frame in such a way that the story is told through their movement, starting in separate halves and ending in the same quarter. More than this, the cinematography captures so many different details so well: the tension, the environment, and the humor. The best example of a combination of these three elements is the numerous pullbacks to reveal something. The camera starts on something new, introducing it, and then pulls back through the shoulders of characters to show them staring in shock or another similar emotion at this new thing. In this sense, the editing is amazing. I have two major praises for it that I'll quickly rattle off so this doesn't go any longer than it should. The first is the creation of rhythm within scenes, and the second is expositional inserts and their timing. Another level of narrative is told underneath the scene through the inserts. And if they're not expositional, it's something like Christopherson's accompanied minor tag, which is hilarious when it happens. Almost as rich in small details is the soundscape. It's got as many small jokes as the visuals do, and it's edited with precision. You may have heard that the actors' lines weren't recorded in a studio, rather in the wilderness, and I think this was definitely to the film's aid. I think the location of the recordings definitely helps with the flow of the sound. Dialogue fits more easily into the soundscape. Also, the use of sounds within the film's environment to add backing to the film's score is really cool. It helps connect the score to the movie. In this way, the music that accompanies Fantastic Mr. Fox feels like an extension of the environment, like the music describes the environment it plays over. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a rich and detailed film that I would recommend to everybody.
10 out of 10.